Let me tell you, media, what you're allowed to ask about. And you can't ask about that today. It's so indicative of who he'd be as governor. You guys, this would be miserable. This segment is brought to you by Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. Sick of fad diets that work for a couple months and then you gain all the weight back? Well, I'm down 37 pounds on the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic program, and I've kept that weight off for more than a year. Schedule your free 15-minute consultation today at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. So here he's at this press conference. He's got the media assembled, and he believes he's entitled to special treatment. He believes he gets to dictate. And this is a guy who has a terrible track record of transparency, has all sorts of public records, issues, etc. Long track record that has been covered extensively in the media. I'll give the Seattle Times, for instance, credit on that they've held Bob Ferguson accountable for his office and its failure on transparency. But anyway, so Chris Daniels used to be with King 5, now with Como News. He figures that he'll use this opportunity to ask Bob Ferguson a very timely and obvious question, and that is about what's happening on the campus of Bob Ferguson's alma mater, the University of Washington. Here's how Bob Ferguson responded.
Oh, we'll talk later then, I'm sure, but give it a try anyway, Chris.
You're a distinguished alumni at the University of Washington. You are the top prosecutor in the state. You want to be the governor. You know what's going on at the UW over the last couple of weeks. If you're elected governor, what would you do to find a solution there to make everybody happy?
Happy to chat with you separately. We obviously have a very specific focus here. I just will say is, look, as a graduate, all students have the absolute right to attend classes safely and experience a campus environment safely. That's fundamental. That has to be enforced. And so, but happy to have a further conversation with you about other details. But for right now, our focus is very clear, right, on what's in front of us.
Yeah. And then he continues to talk about the election issue. So you do realize, as the governor, if you hold a press conference, it's very likely every single time that the media is going to ask you about an unrelated question. And in this case, Bob Ferguson says, oh, well, Chris, I'll talk to you later about that. I'll answer your questions. I mean, students have a right to feel safe, but not willing to condemn, not willing to say, hey, this is an unsafe environment. There's been some anti-Semitism. This is, as Chris pointed out, such a wonderfully worded question, is that you're a distinguished alum. You want to be the next governor. You're the state's chief prosecutor. Anything at all to say about what's happening? And he gives this flaccid answer and then dismisses Chris about, let me tell you, media, what you're allowed to ask about. And you can't ask about that today. It's so indicative of who he'd be as governor. You guys, this would be miserable. This would be miserable. I believe it with every fiber of my being. And his silence on this issue at UW is just crazy. And not just that, similar sentiments that have been popping up about that are just anti-Semitic really across the state. He doesn't have anything to say about that, and he wants to control the narrative. So he wants to control the media. So he, in his kind of giggly way and, snide way, just shut Chris down. Oh, I'm sure we could talk about that offline. Very curious the extent to which he was willing to talk to Chris Daniels about it offline. But this is easy stuff. Is it not easy for him to condemn like an occupied protest where people can't move freely? He knows what's happening. It's very Jay Inslee a la Chop. Oh, Chop? I haven't heard anything about that. That's news to me. It's like, okay, you're clearly lying because you're a coward and you don't want to talk about it. Can we have a governor who's willing to answer hard questions? Is that really so much to ask? It's crazy stuff. It's such a no-brainer for him too, but it's all political ideology and, I can't anger the far left wing. I need them, and I can't have them going after me like they're protesting Joe Biden. So I'm just going to keep that locked up and just, shut Chris Daniels down.